Hello, I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Izzy, and today we are doing the Narcissist Playbook by Dana Morningstar, which is a cool surname.
Well, did you know Lucifer on the show Lucifer? It's Lucifer Morningstar.
That's so cool.
He's so sexy.
I didn't know that. So I think that is pretty ironic because she wrote a book on how to counteract narcissists, but then her surname is like an evil surname. So that's funny. That's ironic.
So when you watch that show, you just fall in love with the devil. That's all you do. You just totally...
I haven't watched it. Is it a good show? Is it should I watch it?
It's an amazing show. I can't believe it. Should we record later and you go watch it now? Because it's so good.
I'm watching season 2 of Bridgerton at the moment.
So am I. Oh God, yeah. But I miss the original Hot Duke.
I miss the Hot Duke, but I'm in. I'm kind of liking it. Yeah, I'm in. I was so doubtful. I was like, there's no way season 2 can be as good as season 1, but it's pretty good.
It's damn good. Yeah. And back to Lucifer, I've always connected with the devil because I feel like he kind of got the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
I really, I do connect with him anyway, but this show will make you love him so much more.
Okay.
And I've recently had a pretty disgusting encounter with a Christian.
Tell me more.
So we were just in casual conversation about something that was going on, and she said, I'm just really concerned about whether or not I'm going to see you in the afterlife.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. And let me just tell you, she doesn't give a shit about seeing me in this life. That's the best part. She's like, do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? I'm like, I didn't know how to take it because I wasn't ready for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just like, I believe Jesus walked the earth and he was a really cool guy. And I don't believe you have to be a Christian to walk in the steps of Jesus, and I started to get taken back because people, if you don't care about someone in this life, you can't care about them in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Period. It's not allowed.
She sounds like a narcissist.
She sounds like a narcissist. A self-centered, why do you give a shit about seeing me? What can I do for you there?
Yeah.
What am I going to do for you?
Yeah.
Because you have literally never done anything for me.
Yeah.
We're not that way in this life. You're you're going to be upset if I'm not there.
Yeah. There's a word for that in this book. It's called virtue signaling. It's kind of like saying things to show how virtuous you are and how unvirtuous the other side is. So that is a narcissist tactic.
Oh. Who's the devil got now, bitches?
Who's virtuous signaling now?
Yeah.
Narcissist police.
We should have. Oh my God.
Ma'am, you were virtuous signaling just there.
Let me see your Bible and your and your sexual history, please.
And your Jesus plate.
Is that a rosary I see on your dashboard?
Or are you just happy to see me? Okay.
Oh my God.
Is that a rosary in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
Yeah, but if you're willing to let people, if you see this, and this particular person has watched this something really awful happen to us and hasn't given a shit at all. Hasn't done anything.
But she's worried about high-fiving you in the afterlife.
She's worried about fist bumping me and through the pearly gates. what? You don't give a shit about me in the afterlife.
Oh my God. That is so funny.
It did feel like an unwelcome finger in my asshole. Yeah. How's that for virtuous, huh?
Virtuous signaling.
That's a virtual signal. No, virtuous signal? What? I can't.
All right. Can we, before we get started with our podcast today, can we talk a little bit? I know everyone's talking about it, but the Will Smith slap.
First
and
of
how
all,
awesome Chris Rock was for handling
I love you, Chris Rock. And Will Smith, you can't slap.
He didn't. Did Chris Rock
honestly
he kind of
it looked like he had just tried to get a fly off of his face.
Yeah, it looked like a mosquito bit his cheek, and it was slightly
trying to get it off there without really making contact.
Yeah.
And Chris Rock was like, "What the hell was that?" Oh, I have a fly on my face. I got it.
Yeah. I wasn't, bothered actually by the whole Will Smith or Chris Rock or the whole slap. I think it, whatever, shit happens.
I'm not down with a physical slap for anything that's not physical.
Yeah. I always like going back to backpedaling a little bit and looking at the real issue, which I think is Jada not embracing her alopecia, because for one, Chris Rock didn't even know she had alopecia. He was making a G.I. Jane joke. So he was just he just thought she went bald, for the heck of it, because Jada feels shame around her alopecia. And
she's been public about this alopecia. So I think the real problem was Will was offended because Chris Rock doesn't follow Jada.
Okay. Well,
missing a follower.
I didn't know she had alopecia until the Oscars. I thought she was just shaving her head to be cool. And it kind of brings me back to the reason that we do our whole podcast is to no more shame around what's wrong with me. I am promoting it.
Love your alopecia is what you're saying.
Love your alopecia. Yeah, I have alopecia t-shirt. Own it. Own it. And I think that's why people need to own this stuff and not be ashamed of it, because look at the problems it causes.
Yeah, it causes violence.
Yeah, alopecia causes violence. That is going to be
pussy-ass violence is is what it causes.
Alopecia causes bad slaps.
Yeah, pussy slaps. I don't know a fifth grader that couldn't do a better slap than that.
Yeah.
And then he got up and so I was like, was that real? And of course, the only time I've taken to Twitter since the last time I watched the Oscars. And I go in there, oh my God, what just happened? And I'm of course, Jason was snoozing through it. And I'm I think Will Smith just slapped Chris Rock. And then I'm thinking, Chris Rock now has jokes for the next decade.
Yeah, he set him up. He set him up. Yeah.
He should definitely host. This is what I want to happen. He should host the Oscars next year, and anybody who wants to win has to come up and bitch slap him. Or when they do win, they get to slap him.
I do think, and I can't speak for anybody's reaction, but I do think Will Smith's reaction was a little weird, because I have gotten violent before, and I want to crawl into bed because I feel so terrible with that feeling. I don't know how he could get up there, do the thing, and then go dance. I wouldn't be able to. I would go home.
Terrible. I think he felt terrible. I think he felt immense. And speaking of narcissists, he was just how is this going to affect me? He's sitting there. I bet he was sweating so bad. Yeah. And I bet Jada was it was you just showed your at-home behavior.
Yeah, maybe.
Did he not? I felt abusive. It felt weird.
Yeah.
And by the way, why can't she's got alopecia? She's not missing a leg. Why couldn't she go up and slap him herself?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I would have done? I would have started rubbing my own head and been hey.
And G.I. Jane, what's wrong with that? I'm sorry, Demi should slap Will because she's the most badass person in that movie.
Yeah. I would have made a muscle and kissed it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm glad we're doing this whole We Need Help project and celebrating our defects, because I think
Me
it's,
too.
yeah.
It's just the way to go, and it's like
Yeah.
it's gonna help pussy slaps everywhere.
All right, let's move on to the book. So, The
Okay.
Narcissist Playbook by Dana Morningstar. So, it's basically it's a really cool. It's kind of like a to do to don't book for people victims of narcissistic abuse. But not only, it kind of talks
Well,
about what manipulation is and isn't, how to spot manipulative behaviors, how people get caught
this
up. Yeah,
this is more, and I want to make this clear. Everybody needs to read this book
yeah,
who has fallen victim to a manipulative person, a taker, somebody who makes you feel exhausted. I mean,
yeah.
this is not just like clinical narcissist, whatever it is, syndrome, or you
Yeah.
know, the personality, actual
Narcissistic
clinical.
personality
Yeah,
disorder. Yeah.
thank you. This is for the people who are the target of somebody who is just fucking exhausting and a taker, and you know it. You know they're manipulative.
Extremely manipulative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is for anyone who has a taker in their life. That's who this book is for. Someone who just, an energy vampire.
Yes.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Dana Morningstar, so she's a psychotherapist, she's an educator. She focuses on abuse awareness and prevention, self-awareness and self-esteem. And she was a victim of narcissistic abuse. She also has a podcast, which I want to check out for the afterbirth, called Thrive After Abuse.
Dana.
And,
Dana.
yeah.
This is right to Dana. We'd like to invite you to invite us on your podcast. Please. We really love you.
Yeah, Lizzie has most recently been the victim of narcissistic abuse. I have been in the past, so we have so much to say.
Yeah, we're like really funny, abused people. It's great.
Yeah. So she's the author of several books, and she's from Lansing, Michigan. So she's a Midwesterner. I knew it.
Oh,
Love
love it.
Midwesterners. She likes taking naps. She likes yoga. She likes designing t-shirts. So do we. And we have great t-shirts on our store. Check them out. And gardening. She also likes.
Yeah, I could hang out with her.
Yeah.
I could hang out with her. And if you go to thriveafterabuse.com, it's really cool. It has a lot of her stuff on there. I've been kind of diving into that big time.
Cool.
But
yeah. So why have we decided to do this book?
Well, I'm just coming out of a relationship, a friendship that was extremely manipulative, and that I unknowingly influenced and helped with that manipulation. And I think that, like, I didn't mean to, but I have some severe regrets and some, I really stayed in the relationship when I saw some red flags, and it's just another example of my not that I don't trust my gut. I wait
Yeah.
to see if I'm right, and I'm always right. And so I asked if we could do this book because I was reading it on the anyway.
You
I had to
needed
read it.
Like
needed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was feeling so bad about it. And within the first 3 chapters of this book, I was like, oh my goodness. It was to the word on a lot of stuff. And, in this particular relationship, like, I was being like gaslit, and I was being accused of like manipulation when I wasn't. I was just trying to like help people.
Yeah.
For free. Like, I wasn't getting anything out of it,
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was feeling so bad, and I was feeling like I was the problem.
Yeah.
And it's not, and I'm fine with being the problem. Like, I really am. But I'm not the problem. And I realized that at the end of the relationship that I was being set up for the gain of this other person.
So it was
And
like malicious manipulation.
malicious manipulation on levels. And then I went back and saw the history of it, of, you know, I saw a history and a cycle that was happening. So this book took me from not, I have regrets, I could have changed it, but I should have listened to myself. And, you know, I have this need to always like feel like I could have controlled something, but I think it was like beyond what I could see, because it doesn't lie within me.
Yeah, I mean, she talks about, and we'll get into that later, how to deal with narcissists. And there's this whole bit about if you think you can control it, it's like juggling snakes. I loved that comparison. Like, you
That
think you can,
is
you know,
so-
it's like juggling snakes. Like, you can't.
Yeah,
So that was
you
really
feel
cool.
it's very uneasy when you're dealing with somebody like that. It's
When you're juggling
mayhem.
snakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've tried it. It's hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well, I do that every day, you know.
Wink. I juggle snakes every day. So we're going to talk about like
Wait a
some
second.
of
It's like more like 3 times a week. It's like
it's one snake. Well, more of a worm. So what we're going to talk about, like some of the early warning signs, and then like, you know, how to recognize, you know, once you're in, like really how to recognize it. So yeah, I mean, besides this situation, have you had other experiences with narcissists or gaslighting or manipulation? Like, what are some of your other experiences?
Well, my part of my growing up in my mom's recovering, she's in recovery, and she like the reason that I'm like the perfect person for these people to get a hold of is, well, a couple of different reasons. First of all, my mom said I came out of the womb unhappy if anyone in the room was unhappy.
We all have, Lizzie. We all have come out of the womb.
It's dark in here. It's dark in here. So
You came out of the womb? What?
I came out of the womb unhappy if anyone in the room is unhappy. So I am a people pleaser like nobody's business. And luckily I found like Jason, and who protects me in that room.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
you
a
know
good
what I
person.
mean?
Yeah.
He's a really good, he could really, and I had relationships before that really fucked with that, you know? But, and then my mom, like she would go into a depression sometimes and not be there and be a little bit erratic. So I'm very comfortable amongst the red flags. I mean, my mom is a very loving and caring human being, and I wouldn't have any other mother, but I'm just saying, like, I lived amongst the red flags. And so being around red flags, I've been loved by red flags all my life. So, and like I said, I mean, now my mom is able to help me like in a lot of ways through this. But like back then, she was only 19 when she had me.
Yeah.
You know, she was just
You don't
a
know what
child
you don't
herself.
know. Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So I think that like that's why I am the perfect target.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to use that word a lot, because that's what these people do, is they target you.
Yeah.
And when I like, it's so manipulative once you see it, and it's so like conscious, like they're doing things just for their benefit.
Yeah.
Just for their benefit. And then a lot of times they'll say, you know, well, it's my business. You'll hear terms like that. And you're like, but that doesn't give you the right to target someone
Yeah.
and their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to talk about my experience.
Yeah.
Since you
I
asked.
want to. Our Polish date always. And so when she first moved to Poland, she was going on dates. and nobody would ever ask about her. They would think they were on the best date of their life, and she'd be like, "Okay, you know nothing about me." Okay, I want to hear about your narcissistic abuse, please.
So I've had two, and I'm changing the names just for the sake of this podcast because I don't want to.
Jim, let's call him Bim.
Yeah, I was gonna do that, but I'm like, no. So Aaron and Becky, we'll just say Aaron and Becky. And Aaron, I could have seen coming, and Becky was just a complete surprise. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about first is early warning signs, because you talked about that. Like, you get a feeling in your gut, but you don't go with it. Like, can you see it coming? Are there early warning signs to this?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever, if somebody, here's a good one. If somebody's never had a best friend that's not paying their bills, that might be a warning sign, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with Aaron, I saw warning signs because he did what, and we're going to talk about this in the next section. That she has like a laundry list of things that these manipulators do. He was a love bomber. So this guy,
what's a love bomber?
So I came in, I was working at a restaurant, and he came in and he sat at the bar. I was bartending, and he was just like staring at me, and he was gorgeous guy, just staring at me.
A lot of these people are very attractive.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was talking to me, and he's like, I want to leave, but I can't. Like, this conversation's so great. You're so interesting. And he stayed until the end. And then he came back the next day, and he was like coming in week after week just to talk to me. And I was like,
I
wow.
love you.
Yeah, it was just, and but I should have thought that was creepy. Right. But I was like so flattered.
I would have been too. I would have been like, oh.
Yeah, I was really, really flattered.
So attractive.
And flowers he would bring in, and like then he took me out to dinner, and he paid for everything, and like it was just very overwhelming. And then he was
like everything sounds legit right now.
Yeah. And then I found out he was moving to a different state, and I was like, oh, okay. But then he's like, I want you to come with me. I've never felt this before. It was just like, it was a lot. And I kind of should have seen it come. It was too much too soon,
Okay.
Those are early. Those should be, proceed with caution, Isabella. But I just went in. I went all in.
Of course
I was
you
like,
did.
yes.
I would have too. This sounds amazing.
This is my soulmate.
This sounds so good. Can I wire him some money?
Yeah. So it ended up being a disaster. Yeah.
Have you seen the what was it that it was a podcast, a really famous podcast recently, and the guy's still roaming free, but like women just kept afterbirth it, but it's a narcissist on a narcissist on a narcissist. He's like crazy.
Was it the Netflix guy?
Yes.
That conned all these women out of money. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
God, so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened? So it sounds bad.
Well,
what
so
state?
I moved. I can't. I'm not going to say because I don't want him to. Whatever. It was a different state.
Is it a state that I judge? Indiana, New Jersey. I don't love Iowa.
None of those. It was a really nice state. And big, beautiful
Massachusetts?
house.
Was it Massachusetts? Don't
No,
like massholes.
I'm not going to say where he's from. But I moved with him, and then the controlling behavior started.
Oh.
And it was scary. It was really scary. He would get really upset at the way I said things. He would get really upset who I was talking to. I just felt it like, oh shit. It was the shit,
Yeah.
And I got stuck. I got stuck in this extremely abusive relationship. It was really awful. And I should have seen the warning signs, but I just wanted to live in my fantasy of being swept away with love, with my, prince on a white horse coming in. rescuing me, taking me to a beautiful state with a beautiful house, and it ended up being.
There's only like
it ended
5
up being,
beautiful states. What state is
nightmare.
this? No,
So,
it sounds awful. It sounds
It was
awful. And then
awful.
you were stuck there. Did you have to get your parents' help? How old were you?
Well, I escaped. I came back to Milwaukee, and then he ended up following me, and it was just like a whole mess. I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, he was also
To
insane
be fair,
I was
the Polish poontang is amazing, okay?
to be fair, but I was in active addiction and he didn't run. So that's another thing. I think he thought,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Then he tried to rescue me from the addiction. It just ended up being a whole friggin' huge mess.
Was there
And-
a lake scene with your father?
There was a scene in the reservoir with my father.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew there was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this
Ooh.
guy ended up breaking into my house, kidnapping me, taking me to my dad, forcing me to confess that I was a drug addict. I mean, it was a whole lot of toxicity.
It sounds
but-
fun. Yeah. That sounds like
Anyway.
a real hoot.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily, in the best shape, and I wasn't the healthiest person. So both sides are at fault, but there was narcissistic behavior.
Well, and I think it's really important, like, you might be the target of it, but you're not the victim of it, because it does take two to tango. And like, there are ways that you can recognize these behaviors. And we're going to teach you all that today because we're teachers today.
yeah,
We're
today
the
we're teachers.
experts.
So what she describes, because she talks about the early warning signs, and she has this analogy of a tsunami. So, the tsunami comes and it kills people, and there's videos of it, right? And she's scrolling through like the YouTube video of the tsunami, and she noticed there was like 3 main themes in the comments. The victim should have known this was a tsunami. The victim should have been running away and dumb for just standing around. And nothing like this would ever happen to the commentators because they would have known better and how to get away. So she
Yeah.
compares this falling for this narcissistic behavior as being like a victim of a tsunami, that you should have seen the warning signs, like the water receding or, whatever the warning signs of a tsunami are.
Here's
I
what
love
would've-
that
Here's what have been
comparison.
me. Like, if
Yeah.
it's my example of
Yeah.
being the target of a narcissist. When that water started to pull away because it was a tsunami, I probably would have ran towards the water.
Yeah.
That's how much of a target I am.
Yay! There's going to be a
I'm
big
like,
fun
wow,
wave.
you can finally see this part of the beach.
Sharks!
Look, Ma.
Starfish!
Yeah, that would have been me.
Yeah, and well, she said the biggest chance of escaping the tsunami is to learn the early warning signs. Right? So, with your experience, were there early warning signs?
Oh my God. There were so many early warning signs. It was insane.
Okay.
Insane. Like,
Okay.
I am not kidding you. It's Netflixable.
Wow.
Yeah. And, of course, I'm so heart driven.
Yeah.
And I want the best and I want to think the best. And frankly, like, I even saw a weakness in her and wanted to take her under my wing and help her. And I loved her children, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. Like, I loved this person. And even though I saw her do this to other people. I saw her villainize people. I saw her throw away people. I saw her use people for their, like, and for their assets as if they were her own.
So you saw her doing this to others, but you're like, oh,
But I was super special.
Yeah. So what were some of the warning signs? Should I go through the laundry list of what makes a narcissist
Do
or
that.
abuser?
Yes, because it was
Yeah.
all those.
Okay. It was the full load of fucking laundry.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she made these alphabetical, so that's great. Abusive anger. Was there any of that?
At the end, yes.
Okay. Blaming.
Mm-hmm.
Boundary pushes.
Oh,
I know there was that from the very beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Charm.
Oh, beyond
Yeah.
charming.
Yeah. Demanding, controlling, or ordering.
Yep.
Emotional appeal.
Beyond.
Obligations, meaning you get put in this kind of where you need the person because it's like
Yes. I mean, it was just set up so much like that. And you have to understand, like, there's, like, you get into your 40s and, like, you want to be right. You don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, literally knew 18 months ago that I kind of fucked up. And I didn't want to be wrong. I didn't want to get out of it. It was, like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Guilt. Like making you feel guilty.
I think I made her feel guilty just by existing.
Okay.
Because I genuinely wanted good things for everybody. And I think that was a staunch reminder of, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. I was trying not to. Because, like, I'm an empath. I can feel what she's feeling.
Yeah.
And I can also see when she's not genuine.
Yeah. Sympathy. Like you feel sorry for her or
Beyond. Beyond.
Okay. Pushes for trust that isn't earned.
Oh, my God. Yeah. A lot. A lot.
Forgetting. So this manipulation is, I'm so like I just forgot, or they forget.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like lying about things that they should remember.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the whole, and the doe-eyed. Oh, I didn't know I was doing that. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel like that. If I could just go back
Yeah.
in time, I would be different.
Yeah.
And
False
then,
flattery.
oh my God.
Fault
bad.
finding faults.
Yeah.
Gaslighting. Gaslighting's the worst.
Gaslighting is what I've been enduring for 6 or 8 months now
Yeah.
with it.
So do you know where
and
the word
I tried to change it.
Yeah. Do you know where the word gaslighting comes from?
Where?
So it's based on a movie, I think it was in the 60s, where the husband would, the lights in the house were gas lights back in the olden days. And the husband would adjust the lights in the house. And the wife would come into the room and say, "Is it darker in here?" And he would say, "No." He wanted her to think she was going crazy. So he would adjust the gas lights in the house at different times and make her question her own sanity. That's where the word comes from.
Yeah. And like, there was a lot of like, she would like stonewall me and be cold towards me and then say I was being cold towards her. You know what I mean? And I call it like the cut me and you say you're bleeding. You cut me and then you pretend you're bleeding. That's what the whole thing, it just like, and I felt crazy. I was like, man, maybe I am manipulative. Maybe I am controlling. Maybe I am like, maybe something's wrong with me. Like, I'm not getting this. Like,
You start to question yourself, your reality.
Yeah. Even though, like, in Chicago, none of my relationships like this. In St. Thomas, none of my relationships were like this. Like, it's, like, and I was thinking, oh my God, like, maybe I am bad. Maybe I'm a bad person or a bad friend.
Yeah.
And then I went to therapy. And my therapist was like, what the fuck are you dealing with? He didn't say it like that, but he said that with his eyes.
It took my dad for me to see. My dad said, I love my dad. My dad said, this guy's insane. He goes, you're a drug addict, but he's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And it took my dad for me to open my eyes. Like, oh.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
You need somebody to say that to you. And it was good. People were saying it to me left and right.
Yeah.
People are like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, it was very involved and very, we were super like tight.
Because that's another thing they do, and she talks about this. They intertwine themselves into your life.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
my
they
God.
get in there. They really get in there. They become.
Yeah.
It's like they're parasites. They
Yeah.
latch on to different
A
things, and I
host.
think the worst is, and I'm sorry to say, she latched onto your child.
Yeah.
That's the
And
worst.
that is the worst and broke her heart.
Yeah.
And that is like, to me, it's like, and she lost faith in people because of her. And I
Your
think
daughter,
that,
yeah.
yeah. And I think that, I feel that I have a major regret that I mom failed with that. And I let it go too long. It's okay. You're like, I know moms have regrets. Moms fuck up. I fucked up. I watched this happening, and I watched her being used as a pawn.
Yeah.
And that's okay because I've sat down. Jason and I have both sat down, apologized immensely to Scarlett. We've explained exactly what has happened. We've talked about this actual stuff happening, why people sometimes make decisions, and used it as a learning point because really there's nothing more we can do.
Yeah.
There's you either learn from it or you don't.
Yeah.
We're
That's
gonna
it.
learn from
And
it.
you know what? You never know. Like, this is a lesson that could have been just a lesson that she needed to learn, or you needed to learn now, to secure you from a bigger, more painful lesson later.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? I always believe the
Yes.
universe gives us what we need at the time that we need it
Well,
to help us, to protect us.
and so I had written down and like 6 months ago, I only want loyal people in my life. Mm-hmm. And the universe has just picked them off left and right. Like, I've seen them clearly, people who are not
Yeah.
loyal, who are
Yeah.
not kind, who are not in general, like, have our best interest in mind. So
Yeah.
I've been able to, like, it's almost like a veil has been lifted.
Yeah.
So, I understand that this is happening for a big reason. And I was so intertwined, I would have never left. And Scarlett's going to, like, I would have never left this situation, and Scarlett needed to grow bigger.
Yeah.
I was kind of holding her back by not protecting her
Yeah.
the way I needed to.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Minimalizing, invalidating, hoovering. Hoovering is they suck you back in.
Yes.
This was okay. So this wasn't the guy, but the lady Becky that I was friends with. She would do that. She would just like, I would like, we'd have, because her thing was love hate. She would suck you in with a love bombing and then suddenly treat you like the worst person ever, and you just would do anything to get that love back. And then she would just suck you back in with the love bombing again.
Okay.
And then she was hot and cold. It was
Yeah.
maddening. It was maddening. So yeah, that's the hoovering where they suck you back in.
I'm wondering if sometimes I can feel like that because I am a love bomber on so many levels. Like, well, I mean, I'm just a love person. But
Yeah.
when I become empty, I have to step back. And I
Yeah.
think that sometimes feels cold to people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like I do it to manipulate their decisions or whatever, but I do it for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that sometimes feels like manipulation.
And this is important what you're saying. The author did say this, that all of us have aspects, we're all manipulators in a way.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? But it's the premeditated, malicious manipulators that you have to watch out for. Because we all do it sort of accidentally. Like, my way of manipulation, and she mentioned this in the book, which I loved, like, for me, it's what I manipulate by tears or the silent treatment. Mm-hmm. And I've become very aware of my own bullshit after reading this book. Like, I'm not going to cry to show Maciek I'm upset anymore. I'm not going to no longer do the silent treatment because it's manipulation. Right. It's to show him how bad he is and how sad I am. And I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah,
I said done with my own bullshit.
I love that. I love that. And last night Jason and I kind of got into it, and he was like, like we were kind of both manipulating each other in a way.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm not manipulating. My feelings are just hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want anything out of this. I just want you to know I'm hurt. And he was like, I'm really sorry I hurt your feelings. That's how it ended. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Yeah.
So can we watch that 4th episode of Bridgerton, please? But I think it's important. Yes, we all do have manipulative behaviors and go-tos and kind of things that we fall under. But the difference is there's an influencer and a manipulator. And the influencer, to which there's a huge difference. Influencer is someone who affects someone's behavior based on authority, knowledge, or relationship with that person, i.e. really want the best for everyone in every single situation. A manipulator influences other people's behavior for their own advantage.
Got it.
And I think that, like, I can be very manipulative to influence people for their betterment.
Oh, I'm not. I want Magic to suffer for me, not for his betterment.
I'm saying in a situation, obviously he deserves it.
Obviously. No, but I did realize, like, and maybe we'll do this book further down the line, but there's this book, Nonviolent Communication, that's like, I got to start communicating my needs rather than trying to manipulate somebody emotionally to see how they wronged me by tears or the silent treatment. After reading this book, I'm not doing it anymore.
I'm not doing that either. I'm not doing that. Not that I've been a big crier, but like, I have my ways. I don't know what they are. Like, I know because I really had to be kind of influential in my household. I come from 7 children. Like, I had to get my shit my own way.
You had to get your way somehow.
I had to get my stuff. I mean, like, my sister still says, I was the favorite because I always got money that I needed from, like, our stepdad and, like, stuff like that. But I was nice.
Yeah.
That helps. Nice.
Being nice helps.
But it's a red flag if you're too nice.
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. So, intimidation, isolation. So they'll isolate you from everybody. That's what the Mr.
She definitely did that.
Yeah, Mr. Aaron did that to me. Like, moved to a state and then, like, come live with me. And then I was all alone with this person in the state.
Yes.
Love bombing. That happened. The love bombing.
Yeah.
Lying.
What about Becky?
She loved bombed because she's sort of a well-known person in Poland. She knows everybody. She's got, like, she's kind of like, you're sort of in awe of her when you meet her. And just that she takes that bright light and shines it right on you and makes you feel like you're special and you are the only one who understands her. And you are her new best friend, and you just feel like this person chooses little old me to be her best manipulator.
Friend. This is my, she is so good at that. And she uses that to get money. Yeah.
Yeah, you just feel like you're in the sunshine, and then when she turns that sunshine,
important.
it's a horrible feeling to be in the shadow.
Yeah. And she makes it that way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She wants you to know you're in the shadow because she wants to win.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll do anything to get back into that sunshine, which for people like us, we hate being in the shadow.
Yeah, we're
in
not
the
shadow.
Shadow.
It's shallow.
We're up from the shadow. I know, I'm changing it. That's our Narcissist song.
It's our song now.
Mirroring is like, single white female. You start looking and acting like that person.
Oh my God, it happened. It happened.
Did it happen to you? Single white female? Did she start dressing like you? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but I didn't notice any of that. I want to be clear. Like, I'm not a genius or anything like that. I didn't see it until she was doing it to another person.
Okay.
That's when I saw it because I saw it from I was the other person first,
Yeah.
because she was doing it to the first person. And then I was that person, and all was good because I was the new person in the spotlight. And then I witnessed her do it to another person, and almost shamelessly.
Yeah.
Like shamelessly. And it's like, oh my God, like, and I called her out for it. I called her integrity out. I said, that's not right what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's when I became the enemy. Not good.
Yeah, because that's not good.
Yeah, not good. Nobody wants to be told they're wrong when they're a narcissist.
Yeah. Protection, so they act like they're your protector. Put downs disguised as jokes or brutal honesty. That's the worst.
I think I do that.
Yeah.
actually
You do that?
think I do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because like my dad one time said, honey, after you say something really mean, you always say, just kidding. I was like, oh my God, I do that. I'm so sorry, Dad. Well, this is like 10 years ago. I quit doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but I do use humor, and I do use sarcasm, and I do use, because I'm not very good at calling things. It's not that I'm not very good. If it doesn't work the first time, me calling it out on the mat, then I'll turn to sarcasm.
Yeah.
And snarkiness. Because I don't like the conflict. Everybody thinks I like conflict because I do it more than most people. But I don't like it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel scared.
Yeah.
So I'll just lean on sarcasm or snarkiness.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? Rushing intimacy. That was there, and that was awful. Oh, so awful. Come move in with me.
I know.
So
bad.
Little subtle attacks, threatening, triangulating, so getting between two people.
Oh my God.
Aaron tried to triangulate because he was trying to get on the same side as my dad for them to pair up against me, the addict, but my dad didn't fall for it. My dad's so smart. He did not fall for it.
Yeah.
Pot stirring. So this is creating issues and stirring the pot. And
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Girl.
Mm-hmm,
oh, girl. I hate a shit stir.
Yeah.
And then to financially gain from that, I really hate that shit.
Yeah. It's bullshit. Undermining, violence, virtue signaling, which we talked about. So I'm so virtuous and just wearing down the target. Weasel wording, so choosing your words very carefully.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, this particular person, she writes, she goes over emails on and texts, trying to manipulate the words to her to make sure she wins whatever conversation.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah, this is what narcissists do. They don't think about expressing. They think about the outcome. What words can I use to manipulate the outcome?
Yes.
And that's
and it's about winning. It's about power.
Yeah. I've never heard that word before, weasel wording. Have you heard that?
I don't know, but I'm going to be using it on a daily basis. Weasel
wording. Euphemisms, and then withholding.
What does that mean? Euphemism.
Euphemism is making something sound better than it is, Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's diplomatic of you, or, kind of a, so. And then withholding is where they withhold their love, this is what this Becky did. So she would love bomb and then withhold, love bomb and then withhold.
Yeah. We've been in withholding for quite some time, to the point of, and just giving you a little nugget so you just continuously, show up. It's what am I doing? What the fuck am I doing here?
We love bomb and then withhold. Should we take a quick Bansa break?
Yes. Well, I'm going to figure out what the fuck I'm doing right now. All right, we'll be back.
We'll be back.
Thank you all for listening to the We Need Help podcast. We actually need your help. You can become a member of the We Need Help movement. Isa, can you tell us how?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's this really cool service called Patreon where you can support artists, people doing different projects, people like us. You basically go to the www.patreon, that's patreon.com/We Need Help podcast. And you can subscribe a monthly donation every month. Stipend, yeah, for just $1 a day.
Just
You would be
$1 a
helping us
day.
out greatly. And if you become a Patreon, you get access to exclusive content. You get a say in what we do because every month we're going to be picking somebody and they get to pick a book that we're going to review. So you actually have a bit of a say in the art that we produce, which is really cool.
And you get to go to heaven.
Yes. That's the number one thing. You get to go to heaven. So
if you don't do it, you're going to hell. But if you do it, you get eternal life.
How awesome is that? For just $1 a day, eternal life.
I mean, eternal life for $1 a day.
So again, we would really appreciate your support. It costs money to do this, by the way.
It costs money.
It
and
does.
time and
Yeah,
money
we were
and more
shocked.
money.
We were shocked. We're like, what?
But I do want to say thank you guys for listening, and we would appreciate any support you could give us.
Yeah, we just want to get better and we want to grow and we want you to grow with us. So that's awesome.
We have big plans.
We got some big plans. So please become a part. Log on to www.patreon.com/We Need Help podcast, written together. And Patreon is spelled patreon.com/We Need Help podcast. And then you just click on become a Patreon. You can do PayPal, you can do credit card, you can put it on whatever. We don't care how.
We don't
Just
care
do
how you
it.
give us money.
Just do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you so
Thank
much.
you. We love you.
Welcome back.
From the banter break, the banter break, the banter break.
That's a break. Oh my gosh, that was like a 5 on the 10 scale, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah,
They can't all be diamonds.
they can't all be. You can't polish turds sometimes.
Can't you? I have been for a while.
Tried. So yeah, that was quite the laundry list.
Oh my gosh, that's a t-shirt. Turd polisher.
But people in Poland would be turd polisher. What?
That makes it even better.
Anyway, yeah, this book was, I mean, it was powerful. Like one of my, I think, all-time, well, I read this quote, it just sent chills down my spine.
Okay.
Because so the whole book is called The Narcissist Playbook. So it's kind of like going through what makes a narcissist, how to spot one. But this quote like chilled me to the bone. It was, evil doesn't have rules. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's like the snake juggling thing. Like you can't control it because you can't learn the rules of somebody who's evil. Like, you know.
I think what is surprising when you come into this is like, you know, part of our survival is kind of projecting who we are onto other people, you know, and looking at them through that lens. But when you realize that you're dealing with someone without a moral compass,
Yeah.
like without, they don't have the same things that we do. Like I would do anything for a child, any child, especially my own.
Yeah.
You know, I would never, ever leave something worse than I found it.
Yeah.
Ever. I would never, ever, ever take what is not mine. Like, that's in the center of my soul. That is my backbone, my principle, my integrity. But some people just don't have that. And when we find that out, it is fucking heartbreaking and you don't believe it at first.
Yeah. This is a good question. When did this come out? Because when I went to visit you, you were still good friends. This was like, what, a year ago? When
Yeah,
did
that
this
was a
all
year ago.
start? When did it start crumbling? When did you start extracting yourself from the narcissist?
Well, I didn't realize what was bothering me at that point. So, right then, right around that time, I was feeling uncomfortable and I couldn't figure it out. But like, I want everyone to understand it was the middle of COVID. Nobody felt right.
Nobody felt comfortable. Yeah.
Nobody felt comfortable. I don't like a mayhem lifestyle, and life was mayhem. So that should have been a red flag, but I thought it was just because of COVID. Like everything was weird. I don't know. So I was already unhappy then. There had been some major red flags and stuff like that. So I centered myself. I, leaned into the good, that kind of thing. But it majorly happened when I last year in August, when I saw a different side of the person and kind of a veil was brought up.
Was that
And
because you saw how she was treating others, or was that something?
I did. I
Yeah.
did. And I saw like what was happening, what had been happening in myself and another. And unfortunately, what I should have done is just leave and not put anybody through anything. I regret that so immensely. But I couldn't believe it because that would make me wrong all this time. And basically, I I tried to argue with myself, and then
I think
it kept
she
getting
mentions that in the
worse.
book that you kind of don't want to, like, you've been in such a relationship, you don't want to be wrong.
I didn't want to be wrong about her
Yeah.
because I loved her and I loved her children.
Yeah.
And I saw an immense amount of red flags with she and her husband. And for me, red flags for me. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter,
Yeah.
And but I loved what we had. We were building something together with our children, all of us, and my
Yeah.
other friend. And it was just, it was like it was slow, but like I did my brain changed and I saw her clearly in an instant.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget what it was, and I'm not going to say it, but it's
Yeah.
like, it changed in an instant.
Yeah.
Like that's how I change.
Yeah.
I don't change gradually.
Once you see
You
it,
know,
you see it, you're done. Yeah.
I like, whoa. And then like all of it kind of rolled over me like, shit,
Yeah.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
We're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I tried to argue with myself and give her the benefit of the doubt and put myself down the whole time. Like, okay, you
Yeah.
need to chill. You're
Yeah.
like, you're not like this. Okay. You're taking things personally. This is like, maybe this isn't, maybe there's something you don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I mean, I'm giving her every excuse in the world, and I couldn't,
Because that's what you do. Like for me, this is like one of my pet peeves in friendship. When my friends don't give me the benefit of the doubt, I just blocked a girl. I loved what you last week we were talking, and you said block it or bless it, and I've taken that on board. And I had this girl. We were on this group text, and I texted something about like an event or something, and she texted me back like, she was like upset. She assumed that I was like doing something hurtful. And I just, actually, this was like the upteenth time that she's done this, where she thinks I
Yeah.
am malicious. And I said, you know what? I'm done. My friends need to give me the benefit of the doubt. So that's what you wanted to do to her. You wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I make excuses for everybody. I'm good at it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And then our other friend who is like truly like family, like she has shown up for me any and every time that I could ever even imagine.
Yeah.
She begged me to stay for 6 months. And when a friend asks you to do that, you do it,
Yeah.
in hopes that things would change, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
And I was so miserable. And like, I was so miserable. I was so resentful. I regret being like that,
Yeah.
and we invested more and invested more and invested more and invested more. And I couldn't like get my trust back. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get my respect back. I couldn't do it. I was so
Yeah.
miserable. and I was seeing everything so clearly, and there's no way you can tell anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
They are those are the trolls on the Tsunami video. They don't think it could ever happen to them.
Yeah. All right. Well, what we're going to talk about in part 2 is like that whole extraction process. Because like now we see, full vision, full transparency. And part 2 is going to be dealing with the extraction process and what you can do.
And healing.
Yeah. What you can do to heal, what you can do to protect yourself. So that's what we're going to be dealing with in part 2.
Yeah. Because it's really important to know that once you've been a target, I don't like to say victim because you're not.
Yeah.
A target of this kind of behavior, the truth is you're more likely to be a target to it again. That's what you have to understand is like it doesn't protect you in any way because you've seen this person do it, because all of them do it in their own little special way.
Exactly. Like I mean Aaron. And Becky, two different methods.
Yeah, way different methods. And like I could go back and like this is not my first time. God, this is no, and it's once you are, users know targets.
Yeah,
they do. They know us. They want us. We're like. I feel like they're like we're the light and they want us.
Well,
like
I think that's the thing that we have to just accept in being like the cheerful, loving, delightful, light people that we are. We're going to attract some demons.
Well, and I always say, what do I always say? Rainbows. Stay away from rainbows. Stay away from black clouds. They seek to destroy you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they do. They want to suck every little prism of light out of you and leave you behind.
Yeah. And on that cheerful note, we'll see you for part 2 next week.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Rate and follow us if you like us. If you don't, please don't.
And come visit us at www.theweneedhelppodcast.com. There you can find show notes, links for books. You can join Audible, which is, how we actually read our books. We listen to them. And we have special exclusive content just for you. Also, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon account. That's where you can support us financially because we need it. And it can be anywhere from $1 to $100 billion a month, whatever you can afford. And the link to our Patreon account is www.patreon, and that's spelled patreon.com/We Need Help Podcast. And you can support us on there. We would really appreciate it because we do need help.
Awesome. And we will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Thanks,
Bye.
loves. Bye.